And gentlemen, let me introduce you to Dan Catto. Dan has been in the industry for more than 25 years. He's been written up in countless of books and magazines. Dan has actually trained over 1 million people that have seen him live all over the world in more than 60 countries. I personally got to be business partners with Dan in 1993. I really recognized back then in 1993, if I wanted to be successful, it was the people that I surround myself most that would help me get to where I wanted to go, would help me reach my goals and the dreams. And there was no one better in this industry that has had the success, the longevity, Mr. Dan Catto. So without further ado, let me introduce you to Mr. Dan Catto from Toronto, Canada.
Hey, Joe, thanks so much for such a great introduction. Thank you. Looking forward to hearing myself after that one, buddy. I appreciate that. Really do. Just want to make sure the audio is good. And again, for everyone listening to this webinar and our talk today, our call today, and our visit today, I just got back into Toronto, Canada, my home here in Toronto. From my U.S. home 48 hours ago. Just left South Florida late Wednesday night, so a little more than, I guess, 48 hours. But bottom line, we've had some glitches with our computer, but I think we're clear for the most part, but it's still a tad choppy. So I'm reaching you, I think for just about all of you, you're tying into this on our webinar, on your computer. And for some of you, you've got a bit of the visual, but for all of you, for sure, you've got the audio. But I just want to make sure we're clear, we're clean, we're HD quality in terms of the audio. So, Joe, how do we sound? How are we coming through?
You are great, Dan. Great.
Good. So I can get going, correct?
Yes, sir.
Great, thanks. Okay, well, hello, everybody. Welcome to the call. And whoa, it's been quite a whirlwind here just in, I could say the last 28 years that I've been involved with this industry, and now 15 plus with NHD, but a bit of that I'm going to share with you because it really ties into my message for all of you and how I really feel we can crank your business, move your business, wherever you are in your business, literally over the next 30 days. So I'm going to start with just a bit of history here, and just talking about this whirlwind of 28 years in this industry. It's just gone by in a blink. And NHT back in 2001, when Joe and I, my partner and I, Garcia, started back here in Toronto, Canada in the spring of 2001. Actually, Joe, it was our first event was this month back in 2001 in Vegas. And we had a few hundred people at that event, but prior to that, just a handful of people at a hotel room in Toronto, again, Canada, just with one product, with black and white brochures, one website. Most people didn't have computers back then. It's unbelievable how fast and how quick everything has moved here with us. But it's been just an unbelievable journey, gang. And I'm saying just a whirlwind in the last 14 days. I have been in Atlanta, Georgia for a conference, a big event that we had there with a new group, the Doc and Tina team. We were in Los Angeles last weekend at our HLC, Healthy Lifestyle Center, which was unbelievable, just a great event there. I had to go back and forth in Toronto, from Toronto, Florida, back and forth just over the last 2 weeks, a couple of times. So it's been busy. But, I share a lot of this with you just the last 2 weeks, and then certainly the last 28 years. It's so important for people that, hear about our industry, our opportunity, and about, our leadership that we have in the business. People do this business. 99% of the people that do this business, from a business building standpoint, to share the products, build their business, all of it, it's not because you want to become, say, the president of NHT, or you want to become a manager from a corporate standpoint. For the most part, really, all of the people that are doing this business, it's because of some kind of dream that you have of of changing things. If it's the products to enhance someone's life, to make their lives a little bit better, to make them look a little bit better, to bring a little bit more intimacy into their life, to whatever it is, it's to enhance their world one way or another. So all of what we share with you are our results, our experiences, what we've gone through, and basically our stories and what we've done. And it's from Joe, myself, to the countless leaders that we have around the NHT world over the last 15, 16 years and what we've experienced. So, again, what we share with you is what we've gone through. We're not making any of this stuff up. And well, for the most part, we can't because NHT is publicly traded. We're fully transparent, and boy, are we scrutinized. So everything we share with you has happened. And we can just share with you the stories of what we've done, what we've gone through, the good, the bad, the ugly. We learn the most probably from the ugly and the tough times. We want to share with you the great times, obviously, the results and the wonderful, wonderful stories. But, you know, part-time, full-time, in doing this business, this is not a lottery in what we do. This is not something where you sign up, you acquire a little bit of inventory and product, and the product's going to sell itself, or you know, people are just going to run up to you and says, yes, I want to sign up. I want to get involved in the business. I'm just going to run away with this thing and take off, and you start making money. This is a business building opportunity, and it's relative to your goals, your dreams, what you want out of this business. It's all relative to that. Whatever you want from a very, very part-time standpoint, developing another profits, center, another avenue of revenue to maybe your portfolio, or your existing situation. If you're, if you're looking after a family, if you're a mom, you're a housewife, you're the CFO, CMO, Chief Marketing Officer for your family, you're the lady of the house, or if you're the guy of the house, and you're just looking at adding to whatever you've got, we can provide that relative to your goals, your dreams, all of that. And I'm going to share with you some things that you will need to do, and that will be more on the back end of my message to you today. For me, which is going to be the most important part, because it's more of the activity and action part of what you need to do to get the results of what you are, why you're doing this. You're obviously involved here with NHT and listening to this call because you want results of some kind in your world and in what you're doing. But let me qualify a few things for you. Hopefully this will help you as we progress here in our conversation today, in my message to you today. I got started. I apologize. I've been talking a lot here. If I'm taking some of the NHT products here, a little bit of Levine, a little bit of Noti to clear my throat here. But some very, very exciting stuff is going on in our world, which is your world, in the NHT world, everywhere. From a product standpoint to an opportunity standpoint, we've had triple-digit growth in 10 to 12 of our markets around the world, from Western Europe to the Far East to now here in North America and soon to be South America and India. Some very, very exciting things that are happening and going on. But gang, in approaching this business, and it'll come to my message for you, the last 10 minutes of my talk, the last few minutes, which is really our call to action of what my 30-day challenge to you will be. Sort of really comes back to and prefaces all of this when I got involved in this industry. 28 years ago, when I got started, back in 1988, I had just spent 10 years in the corporate world, 2 years in private business. I had been in college. I barely finished college. I majored in fun and mastered in all-night fun when I was in college. I definitely didn't get to my second year. But I went out into actually what I was doing in between my first and second year, because I was planning on going back to my second year. I was selling shoes in a shoe store to make enough money over the summer to help support myself going back into college. Bottom line, I got the taste of the business world, and I just realized that I wanted to stay in the business world. And make a long story short here, I didn't go back to school. I didn't go back until I finished college. I stayed on with that company, and very long story there, very, very short. I got to the top of that company in 8 years. I became the general manager of that company, and I ran that company for about a year and a half. So I had a 10-year corporate career, pretty successful one. I worked from the bottom right to the top where I was running that company. I left that business to start my own business, which was traditional business. This is not network marketing, direct sales, multi-level marketing, the industry we're kind of in today. I had no taste of that at all. So 2 years in private business, and the spring of '88, I lost all of it, and I mean all of it. After 10 years in the corporate world, I tried my own thing for the two years, and my business completely failed in the second. The first year was pretty good, but that second year, it really went south on me. And I went back into what I felt was the corporate world where I had security. It was traditional business. I thought I was going to be safe there, et cetera, et cetera. That company was bought out by a U.S. parent. I started putting out the resumes again, couldn't get a job anywhere for about 3 months. And along that whole part of my world, to fast forward here, after 3 months of not being able to get hardly any interviews, get a job, definitely not get a job, that's when I looked at this industry for the first time. And quite quickly here, with this industry, one of the things when I got started here in this industry back in 1988 were some things that I had an issue with. And the two things that I had an issue with when I got started off in this industry, because I couldn't understand it, because this is all I understood in coming from the corporate world and traditional business. I could not understand two things: why people didn't see it the same way I did, and number two, why did people, when I thought they did, they signed up, they quit. I could not understand that. Why didn't they see the bigger picture like I did? And number two, again, why did they quit? Why did they quit after 30 days? Why did they quit after 60 days? Why did they quit after 90 days? Why did they quit when the first person that came along said, no, you're crazy for doing this business? Why did they quit when the first customer that they approached on the product said, no, this product's not for me. I don't like the product. I don't like what you're doing. And they quit. There was all kinds of excuses. I couldn't understand why they quit so easily. Why didn't anyone last? I couldn't understand all of this stuff. And it always came back to me. I thought it was me. I thought there was something wrong with Dano. What I wasn't capturing and getting, because this industry started to help me open up to the world and life and what was going on, was this. I started to understand when I got some numbers from what they call Stats Can, which is Stats Canada. Back in 1989 and 90, after about a year of challenges and frustrations of me mostly trying to get around this, why do people quit, fail, give up, and all of these different reasons, I started to take a look at what was happening around me in traditional business and the rest of the world. I'm going to share some facts with you. I didn't know up until that time, and it's still prevalent today, but they're fixing it, is that 95% of the people, up until just a few years ago, that won the lottery within 5 years were broke or worse off than they were before they won the lottery. So those are people that won millions. Within a few years, lost it. Couldn't understand that. But I figured it out later. This industry helped me. But here's some other things that were happening in traditional business and what was going on out there. Do you know that the average person changes their career outside of our industry 7 times? They change their career. Do you know that over 90% of the people that start their own business, their own privately held business outside of this industry, network marketing, within 12 months are out of business? Do you know that it takes the ones that do make it 5 years before they're turning a profit. Go into real estate and life insurance. Do you know that over 90% of the people that start off, that go to a real estate seminar and they take the course, the same thing in life insurance, within 12 months are no longer in real estate or in life insurance? Close to 95% attrition rate. Do you know that 85% of the people that enter accounting don't become CAs, don't become accountants? Over 85% of the people that enter the military never get promoted. 96% of the people that enter pre-med never become physicians. I don't have to tell you about what happens to marriages in North America. Over 50% of them, what? Don't make it. How many kids out there, and I was one of them, that had that dream of becoming a professional hockey player, football player, basketball player, athlete, become one? A fraction. In the entertainment industry, how many get to the top of their profession in the entertainment industry? Gang, I just shared with you the numbers in life. It helped me understand why people did not make it in this industry as well. It was the same thing. And I'm going to get to that in about 5 minutes, exactly why. But let me share some numbers with you in our industry. Do you know that 85% of the millionaires in our industry in network marketing in North America, this was provided by the DSA, the Direct Sellers Association, 85% of the income that comes from the millionaires in our industry comes from 3 people. Once you started to build a team at an organization, over time, 85%, close to 90% of your income will be coming from 3 people. 3. But here's what has to happen. You got to get those 3. But the studies show that in our industry, the average person, before they quit and they bail, signs up 2.5 people, somewhere between 2 and 3 people before they quit. So it looks like they're not going to make it. 2 to 3 people, somewhere between 2 and 3, and then they're out. They're done. Okay, here's some other ones. Do you know that for every 10 people, the studies show, the Direct Sellers DSA, Direct Sellers Association, shows that for every 10 people that you share the opportunity with, a full presentation, full webinar, a one-on-one, opportunity meeting, home presentation, for every 10 that you show, 2 will sign up. 2 will sign up. So, in knowing all of these numbers, the industry also shows that the average person in this industry only does 1 presentation a month. 1 a month. Once every 30 days. So I don't have to crunch these numbers for you, gang. I'm just sharing with you the facts, the stats, the reality, and life inside and outside of our industry. So studies show why people make it, why they don't make it. It looks like it comes down to numbers, and it comes down to a small percentage of people that make it inside our industry and outside of our industry. But what's the constant? The constant is the mindset. And it doesn't matter from Michael Jordan to Jack Welch to Napoleon to Steve Jobs to Helen Keller to Marissa Mayer, the CEO of Google, Ronald Reagan to Barack Obama. You got a real debate going there. To Joe Garcia, all of the greats of the respective industries and the world that they live in, the neighborhood that they're the top in, it comes down to one constant. It's the mindset. And let me share with you what that 2% mindset is. And it really comes down to, is when they talk about the, Joe, my partner in LA, talks about where most of, that 98% of the wealth in this world is really controlled by 2% of the people. 1 to 2% of North Americans in the world's of our world, 1 to 2% controlled 98 to 99% of the wealth. What is it? There's a constant here. It comes down to the mindset. Let me share with you, when they did this study of all of the greats of their industries to the greats of our industry, and I'll use Mr. Garcia as our standard, it comes down to, and no one talks more about the mindset than Mr. Garcia, and does such a great job on it, gang. It's all over his Steam Team site. And, success leaves clues. There's a massive, massive clue on that Steam Team site, and get into Joey's head and get to know what he does on a daily basis. But you know what? Again, it comes down to the mindset. Let me share with you the mindset. There's the 98%, and then there's the 2%. I've done another training on the 20/80 rule, but this one's the 98-2 rule. This is the 98% that represent the rest of the 1 to 2% of the world's wealth, and then the 1 to 2% that controls the world's wealth, but also are at the top of their industries and what they do. Figure out where you are. Here you go. 98%, it's what we call the comfort zone. It's the comfort zone. They don't want to get out of their comfort zone. 98%, fear. Fear. 2%ers that are getting the most out of life, they act in spite of fear. 98%, it's fear. 2%ers, they act in spite of fear. Gang, what does fear spell? False evidence appearing real. It's that little dark room where negatives are developed. 98%ers, they're insecure. 2%ers, they're confident. 98%ers, they got a dull life. 2%ers, excitement. They got an exciting life. 98%ers that are in that comfort zone are playing it safe. Those 2%ers, they're embracing the unknown. The 98%ers, they're settling for less. Those 2%ers, fulfillment and abundance and prosperity. 98%ers in that comfort zone because of procrastination. Those 2%ers know that procrastination, it's not in their world because it's the greatest evil of success and the biggest thief of time. 98%ers in that comfort zone, they're just getting by. Those 2%ers, they're living without limits. 98%ers in that comfort zone, they're surviving. Those 2%ers, they're going for their dreams. The 98%ers, they're accepting mediocrity. Those 2%ers, they're exploring new things and embracing change. What did Charles Darwin say? The true genius in life is the ability to adapt and adjust to change. The one constant that you'll have in life is change. For things to change, you may need to change. Those 98%ers experiencing regret and being like everyone else. Those 2%ers, they're choosing happiness and they went for it. It's incredible. 5 years ago, Joe Garcia and I and 2 other leaders went to Hawaii for the ambassador trip with the Global Ambassadors, which is ranked 9 on our IRP, our international recognition program, the highest standard that we have in our neighborhood, the NHD neighborhood. It is the gold standard. It's ambassador. 4 went. 5 years later, there were 60. That was last year. We went from 4 to 60 in 5 years. An incentive program that we had that had our people qualify for Dubai 5 years ago. 14 qualified 5 years ago. Just this past year in New Zealand, nearly 1,200 qualified. There was another constant in all those people that qualified, and it came down to this. We, on our comp plan, you can get started at 4 positions: bronze, silver, gold, or platinum. You can get started at any of those 4 levels, those 4 positions. We support and will embrace everyone at every single position, because that is your decision. It is your call. We can't decide that for you. We will support you. But what we've got to share with you is the facts and the standard. Just about all of those people, 95% of those people that qualified for those incentives and qualified for the ambassador trip to Hawaii, where did they get started? Was it bronze, silver, gold, or platinum? Over 95%, close to 95%, started at the platinum position. Now, we will support, because the company and Joe and I in our heart, in our gut, know that no matter where anyone starts in the program, we have a 12-month money-back guarantee on the position that you start at. If you start in a franchise today, a Class A A1 franchise, which is going to cost you well over $100,000, or you go to business for yourself today, which is going to be a massive capital investment, try and get your money back after 12 months if it doesn't work out. Here in our world, is the highest position is platinum. The lowest position is bronze. It's entirely your decision. Joe and I will support you on your decision, but we, as leaders, have to share with you the facts, the stats, and the standard of where people have succeeded on the path that they've taken towards that position of success. So, gang, I go back to this. Those numbers that I shared with you earlier, maybe just before we get there, why do people that start at the platinum position succeed at a greater rate than the other positions? Joe and I didn't quite understand that in the very beginning. We thought, well, if it was easier for people to start at bronze at a lower position, lower volume, lower revenue, lower everything, we found out this. We didn't understand it because we tried it. We tried having our cycling that we have on our compensation plan, where people get paid on their cycles of their business and the volume and the revenue is going on. We would lower the bar. We would lower the cycle. We lowered the volume, but we were also lowering the entry. We were lowering the commitment. We were lowering their effort, and we lowered the volume, which lowered the checks, which lowered the results. All of this came back to this philosophy and this mindset. So what we had found is that when everything was raised in terms of volume, but still making sure that if it didn't work out, we would still make sure that that person was looked after 100% of the time, no matter what level they were started at. So Joe and I could sleep at night knowing that no matter what happened to that person, if something catastrophic happened in their world, they had to get their money back, whatever, they were looked after. But it was our job to show them the best way to get started. It wouldn't be right for Joe and I to share with you, well, this is where you should start at the lower level at a bronze or a silver, when we know that the success was with the platinums and the people that were getting started in that position. So Joe and I were so sensitive to this, and always making sure that the standard, when showing and sharing with everyone the standard that our successful people are getting started at, but embracing and supporting everyone, no matter whatever their decision was. That was their decision. We respected it. We supported it. We would help them. So why was this happening? This was so important. We have found that when the people started at platinum, the volume was higher. When the volume grew, the checks grew. When the checks grew faster. When the checks grew faster, they were more excited. The spirit was better. The attitude was better. Less people quit. There was stronger retention because there was more commitment. There was more dedication. They worked harder. So all of this started to happen, but then what did we start to duplicate? What did we start to attract? Remember, they've always said that success attracts success. But most importantly, what were our people becoming in pursuit of what they wanted? It was such a beautiful thing. And it all started with this mindset, this prosperity, abundance mindset. And it wasn't just happening in NHT. It was happening in our industry around the world. But it wasn't happening in our industry around the world. It's been happening for generations and thousands of years. From you go back thousands of years to Napoleon, to some of the great leaders, Alexander the Great, to some of the great leaders from a corporate standpoint, our societies and our governments that ran countries over the generations and hundreds and thousands of years. It came down to a mindset and a philosophy, and it started with that. So it didn't matter if it was happening here or it's happening outside of our industry. It wasn't the upline. It wasn't the sideline. It wasn't even so much, for the most part, the company. But if you got with a great company, boy, were you fortunate, which we got here. So it wasn't the sideline. It wasn't the upline. It wasn't the downline. Who was it? It was you. It came down to you and the decision that you made on the mindset and the philosophy that you were going to make for your life. Gang, thoughts will determine what you want. Action will determine what you get. I just shared with you what the average does in our business. The average person signs up 2.5 people in their career, then they bail. They quit. The average person makes one presentation over 30 days. So my challenge to you over the next 30 days, if you want to raise the bar, raise the standard in your world, in your business, is this. Over the next 30 days, commit to making one presentation a day. If you can't do it, 30 presentations over the next 30 days. If you miss one day, if it's Sunday, and I can relate to Sunday not being a day to do it. I come from my late father was a United Church minister. He shared with me, son, it's a day of rest. So I get that. So if it's going to be 2 on Saturday and 1 through the rest of the week, that's it. But 30 presentations, commit. Over the next 30 days, watch what will happen to your business. Watch what will happen to you. Watch what will happen to your spirit, your attitude. What happens to the belief? All of these little things comes back to you. Joe and I can't do this for you. Your upline can't do this for you. Your leaders can't do this for you. They can show you, but it's up to you to make that decision and that call. Over the next 30 days, you could change so much in your world. You could change so much in your business. Commit for the next 30 days to making 30 presentations. Webinar, home presentation, hotel presentation, one-on-one, two-on-one, coffee presentation, whatever it is, commit. You could change so much over the next 30 days. Gang, your people will do what you do, not what you ask and tell them to do. 99% of them will ask where you got started. And what have you been doing over the last 30, 60, 90 days? Gang, if you want to change things, you will need to take action. Because again, it's that action that will determine what you get. The thoughts are determining what you want, but it's you determining what you get. I've always said, is from a leadership standpoint, your people will watch your feet more than your lips. They will watch what you do, not so much what you say. What if you did this and committed over the next 30 days to 30 presentations? What if you had 5 people on your team do exactly the same thing? What if you had a dozen on your team? For some of you out there, you know that you've got 20 to 30 people on your team. What if they did the same thing? But if it's just 5, and they did exactly the same thing, how many more presentations do you have going on in your group? How many more products are out there changing someone's life, enhancing someone's life, making so much better their life? Just for the next 30 days, is it worth it? You know the numbers inside and outside of this industry. So it doesn't matter if it's here or another company in our industry or even another team or another organization. And it doesn't matter if it's here, if you're in real estate, if you're in life insurance, or if you're in the military, or if you're starting your own business, or if you're working in the corporate world. It doesn't matter. It comes down to that mindset and the choices that you make. You can change so much in your world, your team, your organization, your family, and your life over the next 30 days. It's up to you. Gang, thank you so much for taking the time. Big shout out to all of our friends around the world, from Eastern Europe to our Russians that are listening into this call, to Western Europe, and a special shout out to Helen in Sweden. She's got her great retreat going on with our Scandinavians, to our Asian friends that we have, and they're tying into this webinar, to our Indians in India and South Americans that are going to be coming on board here very, very shortly as we launch Peru here just in the next few months, and the rest of South America. And just a big shout out to the rest of you that I'm missing you somewhere in North America and the NHD world.